you haven't heard about the Thracians,
No.
probably you've heard about them through Spartacus, who was a Thracian. He was captured by the Romans and sent over there to Rome, so he had this rebellion. Thracians were pretty relaxed. They were kind of a relaxed version of the ancient Greeks. They had about 200 holidays during the year, and one of their main gods was Dionysius, the god of the wine. Yeah, so they were enjoying life, living divided in these small Thracian tribes. And in the 1st century AD, the Roman Empire started expanding, and they quickly conquered all those territories. It wasn't really the best time for the Thracians because they quickly started melting culturally in the Roman Empire. But for the city itself, it was a big deal because Romans came here with their infrastructural plans and projects and everything. They chose the city to become the administrative center of this big province here. So that's how the city really started growing. In the 1st century AD, it became this Roman city, and until the 9th century, it was controlled by the Romans. That's when the Bulgarians took it over. Bulgarians originate from what is nowadays South Central Russia. They were semi-nomadic tribes, going back and forth. And in the 7th century, they reached the Balkan Peninsula. They formed a union with the numerous Slavic tribes that were already here, and the Thracians. Altogether, they defeated the Byzantine Empire, the Eastern Roman Empire controlling those territories, and the first Bulgarian state here was established in 681. And we're very proud of this fact, as it makes Bulgaria one of the oldest countries in Europe that never changed its name.
Oh, wow.
That's interesting.
Then in the 9th century, Bulgarians took over that city. Then we accepted Christianity. Then we developed the sort of alphabet, which was also a big deal for us because Bulgaria was the first country to start using the Cyrillic. So that's why your life is a little bit more difficult while you're here. But then in the 11th century, the Byzantine Empire got its territories back. The Byzantines defeated the Bulgarians, and Bulgaria stopped existing for about 2 centuries. Eventually we got part of them, and a second Bulgarian state was established. Again, we had our moments of glory. However, at the end of the 14th century, another big empire came here to conquer everything. Who are they?
The Greek?
No. Turkey? Yes. The Ottoman Turks, the Ottoman Empire was very, very powerful back in those days. They were really into expansion, so they quickly conquered all of those territories, and Bulgaria stopped existing for the next 500 years. See, from a Bulgarian point of view, that was a really difficult period because Bulgarians didn't have a chance for self-governing. They had less rights compared to the Muslims in the empire. However, still, the Bulgarian identity was preserved. And, at the end of the 19th century, as the Ottoman Empire was getting weaker and weaker, there was a war between Russia and the Ottoman Empire. So Russians defeated the Ottoman Turks, and that's how the Bulgaria, the country, was, as we call it, liberated. So the 3rd Bulgarian state was formed, and initially we wanted to really quickly restore the medieval glory of the country. So we started getting involved in local wars and conflicts, and the country was quickly growing. But then something went wrong in the beginning of the 20th century, and ever since then we've been losing all of the wars. We lost one of the Balkan Wars, we lost the First World War, we lost the Second World War, we then became a satellite state of the Soviet Union. So for 45 years we had this socialism here, which ended with the fall of the Berlin Wall. It's a thing that triggered the changes in the country. So for the past 34 years we've been building democracy. And as a result of that, in 2004, we're part of NATO. In 2007, we're part of the European Union. And most important of all, in 2010, we have the free Sofia. Maybe the reason for that is the communism, when religion wasn't really tolerated. But still, we have all these functioning churches all over the city. That one is special because on that spot, in the 10th century, the Bulgarians built the first Bulgarian church in the city, which was quite small, like a small wooden barrack. And throughout history, it got several times destroyed and re-established. So I'll tell you about the last time it got destroyed. That happened in 1925. The country was a parliamentary monarchy. So we had a king and a parliament, and in this parliament, like in many other European countries back in the days, we had a communist party. They really wanted to rule. Now they were quite unsuccessful on the elections, so instead they decided to organize a revolution. They tried with this revolution, but it failed, and the Communist Party was banned. So they were a bit desperate, and that's when they decided to assassinate the king. Wonderful idea. Turned out to be very hard though, because the king had all these guards constantly protecting him. So they decided then to go to a park here in Sofia and shot dead a general. Why not? If they could have succeeded with that thing. But that was only the first stage of their evil plan, because the communists knew that this special general was going to get a very special funeral inside of this church. They knew that on that funeral there would be the king, there would be other generals, the political elite of the country. So knowing that thing, they managed to bribe the clergy of the church, who let them stash explosives underneath its dome. So when the funeral started and everybody was inside, they detonated all these explosives, which made the dome fly into the air and collapse over the people inside. This was a complete disaster. More than 200 people found their death on the spot in there.
Oh my
500
God.
more badly injured. This is the biggest terrorist attack on the Balkan Peninsula. However, the main target, our king, he managed to survive. And you know, he did survive by using a typical Bulgarian bad habit. Can you guess which one? Smoking. Smoking is a Bulgarian bad habit. That's always the first guess here. We have this as a bad habit, but it was something else. Even though he was a smoker. Well, you didn't do that thing on the tour, but I guess the others are doing it currently. I'm gonna try. These things. Back in the days, it was all full of this communist symbolism, like stars, sickles, and hammers. They were all removed in the fall of communism. And that's actually one of the very few places in the city where you can still see a communist symbol. Right up here, a star that, I don't know, maybe they forgot to remove, but it's still here. Now, I wanted to show you here the statue up there. This statue is in the heart of the city. It's supposed to be a symbol of our city. But some people call her the most beautiful misunderstanding. That's the statue of Saint Sofia. And the place was empty in the year 2000. So to celebrate the millennium, the authorities decided to put something up there. And they found the sculptor and asked for a concept. So he said, I have the idea, listen. So it's called Sophia. There's a saint, Saint Sofia. I'll make a statue of Saint Sofia. Yes, that's what we wanted. And the statue was placed up there. And only then the historians saw it. And they were pretty shocked. Because Saint Sofia, she's a Roman Christian martyr that has absolutely nothing to do with the country, with the city, or anything with this area here. The name of the city, Sofia, because in ancient times it was known as Serbia. The name Sofia comes from the church which we'll see at the end of the tour. It's also called Saint Sofia, but it was built by the Greeks in the 6th century. And they named it Hagia Sophia, the Holy Wisdom, the wisdom of God, creator. So nothing really to do with that lady up there. However, still, we start accepting her as a symbol of the city. Because, you know, in communist times, on that same spot used to be the statue of yesterday. Lenin was up there, yes. So, you see, I guess he's more suitable than a communist dictator. He speaks how old the city is, because you can see how the city is developed at these different levels. We're just now to the contemporary level of the city, the 19th and 20th century. That was the level of the city in medieval times. And on our next stop, we'll see the ancient Roman level. We can see all these ruins down there. Now, that thing happened very, very slowly, because all this dust and dirt remaining within the city. So that would make the level of the city slowly grow higher and higher. And you see, already in medieval times, when the levels got here, locals realized that they could be using the ruins from ancient Roman times to build on top. And that's how this little church was established in the 15th century. They used the ruins of an ancient Roman crypt to build that thing on top. Now remember, in the 15th century, already the Ottomans have conquered the city. There was like no Christian state. that would fund the establishment of those temples, of churches. So, still though, it was possible in the Ottoman Empire to build a church. There'll be certain regulations. A church could not be higher than a mosque. It couldn't have had lots of ornaments on the outside, but still, you know, if you had the permission, you could build your church. So, some Bulgarian merchants decided to collect some money for materials and everything, and to ask for permission to the Ottoman authorities. And they went to them and asked them for permission, and the Ottoman authorities welcomed them and said, "Of course we'll give you permission, but maybe next year." Next year they'll go again and they'll hear the exact same thing again and again and again. And you know, in the country, it's a common thing back in the days for communities to be waiting for about 150 years to get their permission to start building. And you know, people start becoming desperate, and the merchants here were quite clever. So they started troubleshooting with one of the best solutions here in the Balkans, which is corruption. They started bribing the authorities, and pretty soon they received their permission. But now another big problem appeared. It turns out that they spent all of their money bribing the authorities, and there was nothing left for materials. So take a closer look at the business here of materials. You'll notice some pretty suspicious ancient Roman bricks in this otherwise medieval construction, but nevertheless they did complete it, and they called it this easy Bulgarian name, Sveta Petka Samarčišta. Stands for Saint Petka of the Saddle Makers. Here, up there. So also they made on purpose the door very, very low. And that was done to force people to bow before God when entering inside of the church. That's how they were making churches in medieval times. Nowadays, the operating part of the church is downstairs. Takes you to the lower, to the underground part where there's the functioning church. If you want to visit the medieval one, temperature are the volcanic activities underneath the ground. It's warming up the water, so it's flowing with about 30 liters per second, and there's nothing to stop the water from flowing. So once the bath was closed down, they created a small complex of fountains over there on the other side, and that's where most of the water goes. So it's a normal sight to see over there people going with their big empty bottles to fill them up with that water, which is the same water you find in the supermarket, but here it's free. So I invite you to try it. I'm going to show you myself, and I'm not trying to poison you. You can drink it. Advertised for this thing from everyone. In white and red, symbolizing male and female beginning. It's something that started as a celebration of fertility. It goes like that. On the 1st of March, you start changing those things. You'd either attach it to the wrists of your friends or family, or you just give it as a gift and you put it on their jacket. And you wear that thing for a month or two, depending on the year. Traditionally, you're expecting to see the storks come back to Bulgaria. The storks are migrating to the south for the winter, so they know when's the best time for spring, and they come back at spring. So whenever you see a stork, you're supposed to take your mapinza off and then put it to a blossoming branch of a tree. Now that's the first tree that starts blooming in spring. You can see that soon it's gonna start blooming. You know, already it's beginning to flower. So it has these beautiful white colors, and it's the first tree that starts doing that thing in the parking spring. So a lot of people prefer to attach their martinita on it, and you can see there are numerous ones from the previous years. Otherwise, tree is a plum, and plums are some really respected fruits here in Bulgaria because out of plum we make rakia. Favorite alcoholic drink of real Bulgarian men. And the rakia that they'll offer it to you in a restaurant or in a supermarket will be normally limited to 40% alcohol. However, real Bulgarian men have a different opinion on that. I tried once homemade rakia which was 72% alcohol. They claimed it was so much, and it was quite a strong thing. I guess it's a good solution for the cold days of the winter, because traditionally when it's negative 20 outside, you'd be at home drinking your small sips of rakia. It's quite dangerous with rakia, because it's not like a big glass of rakia. They're these small shots, and you feel safe when you're on a table with true Bulgarians, because it's going to be not a big amount, but no. Tradition is that they'll never leave your glass empty. They always say cheers. You're supposed to cheer and drink a little bit, and then immediately they refill, and quickly you start feeling the specific